You know, some people seem to be a glutton for punishment. They even seem to enjoy it. Well, today on Daily Renewal, I'm going to talk to you about how you can have joy through some of the toughest trials in life. Hello, everybody. This is Pastor Lyle. Welcome to Daily Renewal. We're going to continue our series today on winning the war within, dealing with various trials and temptations. We all go through these things, and we're going to talk about that today. If you're new to the channel, I just want to encourage you to consider subscribing to our channel below. Also, smash that like button because that helps us and get the videos distributed to more people. We've got over 100 videos on different topics, and the reason I do this is because I really believe there's people that are hungry for God that need answers to some of the tough questions that we have about life. So, in dealing with trials today, we're going to continue looking at the book of James in how to deal, and starting with our attitude and what it should be when we have trials. Now, if you're anything like me, when you're going through a trial, I don't like pain. I don't think, if you do really enjoy pain, there's probably other issues and other videos we could do to help you with that. But the idea of having pain, we don't like it. It's not natural for us. And we see here in James chapter 1, starting in verse 2, he says this. He says, "My brethren, count it all joy when you fall into various trials." Now, this seems odd. Why? How could we count it joyful? What is joyful about going through trials? Well, let's read on. It says, "Knowing that the testing of your faith produces patience, but let patience have its perfect work, that you may be perfect and complete, lacking nothing." So the first thing we see here is it says that the testing of our faith produces patience. Well, that word patience can also be interpreted endurance. And it's important to understand that the things that God is doing in your life right now is because there is an endurance race that we're running called life. Our time here on earth is short, but when we look at our lives, we have to understand that this isn't just a short race we're running. No, the race of life is a long race, and it needs to be looked at as a long-term plan. The things that God is doing, He's doing to help you build endurance in your life. So we see as it goes on in verse 4, it talks about the fact that patience, we're supposed to let patience or endurance have its perfect work. And that word perfect's important. We're going to get to that in a moment. It says that you may be perfect and complete, lacking nothing. Well, that goes contrary to a lot of things that we have, especially in North American or English-speaking countries, the idea of being perfect. You may have heard it said, well, nobody's perfect. And often that's our excuse when we do something wrong. But according to the Bible, and specifically if we look at Matthew 5:48, Jesus says, "But you are to be perfect, even as your Father in heaven is perfect." I read that from the New Living Translation, but many of the English translation put it this way, where we are to be perfect. Well, how do I be perfect? I mean, it was tough enough that I'm supposed to have joy through trials and tribulations, but now God says I'm supposed to be perfect? Oh, how am I going to do that? Well, part of the problem we see here, if we study that word perfect, is we have to remember that the Bible was translated, especially the New Testament, translated from Greek. And a lot of times there's words in Greek that when you translate them into English, they actually do have a bit of a different meaning. And this word perfect, if you study this out, which I have, you will understand that it actually comes from a Greek word. I'll do my best to pronounce this right. The Greek word teleios. And teleios means to be complete, to be mature, or to be whole. And So when we see in both instances, the one in James and also the one we just read in Matthew, when Jesus says we're to be perfect, he's saying we are to be complete, mature, and made whole. And the only way that you can be that way is through a relationship with Jesus Christ. So for anybody out there, you're looking for that soulmate that will complete you. You ladies out there, you're looking for that man that is just going to complete who you are. Well, Jesus is that man. If you give your life to Jesus, if you set your life to follow him, this is how you're going to find wholeness and how you can be complete. So when he says back to James, he says, let patience have its perfect work, that you may be perfect and complete, lacking nothing. He's saying that patience or endurance will get you to the point where you truly will, you will be complete, you will be made whole. And this is an absolute key, because when you look at people in life today, many people are looking for the meaning of life. Or they're always looking for something. Many, and I remember this for myself. Before I knew God, I remember how empty I was. The first thing that I realized when I began my relationship with Jesus is that now I had hope, and I felt like I was complete. There was still work to be done, but I knew in my heart of heart that I had found what I was looking for. So from there, God now has me and anybody who calls upon the name of the Lord in a process of continually bringing wholeness or completeness to us. So going through temptation needs to be looked at totally different. God's trying to do a work in your life. He's got a destination that he's trying to bring you. And I'm not just talking about a physical destination. He's trying to process things in your life to get you to a different place than where you are right now. That place of completeness or that place of wholeness. So let's keep reading in James. Let's take a look and go a little bit further down into verse 12, and he sums it up by saying this: blessed is the man who endures temptation, for when he has been approved, he will receive the crown of life, which the Lord has promised to those who love him. So we see here, the idea that God is trying to get across here is that there's a blessing in understanding and embracing your trials and temptations. And what is that? Well, it talks here about the crown of life. Now, as far as what the crown of life is, let's just cut to the chase and explain that it's this. It's a reward. God has a reward for you at the end. And I want you to think about anybody who's involved in sports, for example. You see all these athletes that put in all their time practicing day in and day out and sweating and grinding and doing everything they can just to get to that one game. And when they win the championship, all of the work that they put in, as tough as it was, as much as some of them may wanted to quit along the way, they almost always say, it was worth it. To be where I am now, to be at the end, and to win the prize. This is what all the work and dedication was for, and it was more than worth it. Well, I'm going to tell you that when it comes to God, the prize far outweighs all the trials and work that you had to go through to get there. God is not waiting at the end and saying, well, you had to go through all this stuff, and here's your little crown. No, we have to see the crown as being a lot more than just a thing that's put on top of our head. No, that crown represents a lot more. That crown represents that everything in God's kingdom. He has so much more than we could ever even ask or imagine that he wants to give us as we make the decision to embrace and endure. Why? Because we want to win. We want to get to the end. And we want to attain what God has for us at the end. It says that he has promised this for all of us who love him and endure. So, back to the original question. How am I supposed to have joy? Well, If you can understand, if you can comprehend, and if you can't, ask God to reveal this to you in a deeper way. The trials and temptations that you're going through right now, God sees every one of them. If they were too tough, he would make a way for you to escape. We have a God that, like a good parent, wants to protect his children. But he also understands that if he's going to get you to the place where the absolute best is for you, then he has to allow us to go through these things so that at the end, he can give us the greatest reward. And again, my friend, you can count it all joy when you understand that no matter how bad the trial, no matter how bad the temptation, when you get to the end, the prize will always be better and bigger than anything that we've gone through in all the days of our lives put together. God wants to reward you because he loves you that much. Well, I hope you got something out of that today. If you did, I just want to encourage you, share these videos with as many people as you can. It also helps if you become a subscriber and if you hit the like button below. That helps us get the videos out to more people so they can be seen. Also, you can like us on Facebook, and we are on Twitter and Instagram as well. If you are in the Kamloops area, especially if you don't have a local church, come by River City Church. We would love to have you. Having said that, God bless you and have a great day.